Hello everyone, welcome back to Speaking Spurs and me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham. And today, unfortunately, we're talking about the disappointing loss to Brighton in the Premier League at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Yeah, it's a bit of a frustrating one to take. You know, we're on the back of a good run of form, banging in goals for fun, and then this game we don't even register a shot on target. Very disappointing. You know, all the players at it constantly. Obviously, there's been, a couple of things that haven't gone our way in the sense that Matt Doherty is now injured for the rest of the season. That does kind of affect the balance of the side. I think when he's out on the right recently, it's been very helpful for us. And now he's obviously gone, which means Royale has been out there, and I don't think he does it for us. Even on a day when we play really well as a team, it's obvious that he's the weakest link on the pitch. That's not to say he's terrible, but if you're constantly the weakest link, that's not really a good thing. There's been rumours as to why we weren't at it. I mean, let's talk about the performance, all right? So we didn't register a single shot on target throughout the game. We were pretty much as flat as a pancake throughout the whole game. The intensity wasn't there. The slick passing was not there. The movement off the ball from other players was terrible to non-existent. The only blessing in disguise from this weekend is that Arsenal messed up in their own match against Southampton. That was a massive chance for them to go level with us on points and still have a game in hand. But instead, Southampton, did a job for us at the end of the day. They've absolutely rescued us, and they're on a little bit of a losing run at the moment. Arsenal, I think that's like 3 on the bounce now they've lost, and they have got tougher fixtures than us in the Premier League in this race for top 4. But Manchester United managed to gain some ground with their unconvincing win against Norwich. So they went 2-0 up. It was pulled back to 2-2. Norwich could have taken the lead at 3-2 had it not been for a De Gea save. And then, Ronaldo got his hat-trick like he did against us and got the job done for them. So, I think it's a learning curve for us, the players, to know there's still a lot of work to do. So let's talk about reasons why people have thought that we played badly. We were given a couple of days off, the squad, after the massive win against Aston Villa. So hasn't trained as many times, but let's not forget, you have time in between these games. Like, we've got a week in between each game at the moment because of being knocked out of the European Conference League. So we knew once we were out of all the cups, our running was going to be a bit easier. And traditionally, Conte teams do better when they have a whole week to prepare. And we've seen that. Obviously, we were going to lose at some point, so we can't get too emotional about it. And I think in a normal situation we wouldn't, but I think it's the manner that we lost the game, which is why we're so annoyed. If we'd have gone out there and it had been a great game where we played really well and just couldn't quite, maybe their goalkeeper has an amazing day, their defenders block everything out, then fine. But it wasn't that. We made ourselves look bad. So yeah, a few people are moaning about the fact that the players were given a bit of time off, but there was still time. Harry Kane was very quiet in this game compared to what he has been recently. I know he hasn't been scoring goals, but his performances have been good. He's been providing assists. So there's that as well. His very public trip to the USA for the golf, for the final day of the Masters in Augusta on Sunday. They were brought up by many fans on social media because he was lethargic against them. So they were wondering, was there some jet lag in that? Now, so let's put it this way. He was back with the squad on Tuesday when they trained. So he took those few days off to go watch the golf. He returned with the rest of the players on Tuesday, and we didn't play until Saturday. So you can't really say that he's jet lagged or anything like that. He had plenty of time to recover, plenty of time to sleep. If he'd have appeared tired in training, I'm sure they would have, maybe asked him to come in later in the mornings or not stay as late in the afternoon. So we can't really say jet lag is a problem either. So that one's squashed. The reaction from Conte and others within the squad has been pretty similar, to be honest. Let's look at what Lloris said. It was a very average performance, to be honest. The only regret that is in that type of game, if you can't win, you don't lose. That's the key. We are talking about consistency. It can happen to have a bad day, but to throw away all the effort that we made in the last few weeks by losing this game is a big disappointment. The only thing is to look forward now. We've got 1 week now to prepare for the next battle. It's important to analyse well the game and analyse well the performance and learn from this game, because I think it will happen again. This type of team, already safe in the Premier League, that play with freedom, they come here just to compete and enjoy the competition without the pressure of the results. In our side, we play for the big things, so we can only blame ourselves and continue to work. He added, we are talking right now about the game, but we'll see tomorrow, and you need 24 to 48 hours to digest it mentally. It's a big disappointment, and then you get back on track by working hard, by preparing for the next game as best as we can and ready to battle. Today there is plenty of questions about the performance that we need to answer, why we could not increase the intensity, why we could not change the rhythm at some point in the game, and then today we were a bit too slow in transition by passing the ball and we lost a lot of easy balls. This doesn't help the confidence individually and of course for the team. The atmosphere was so great, the warm-up before the game, we didn't use well this positive energy, and I think he's talking about the crowd in the stadium, because there was a lot of people in the stadium with all the hype recently. The warm-up before the game, we didn't use well the positive energy, and we can understand well the frustration from the fans. We are so very disappointed, and we need another run of wins. If they are 6 games left, we need to continue to win. So Conte believed that this Tottenham team will only become the one he wants by learning from the matches like this, and it is important to have these losses in there. If you win all the time, you don't know how to deal with the bad spells. So Conte said, certainly not a good result for us and a lesson that we can learn from today, and there are games that if you're not able to win, you're not to lose, like Lloris said. It was very clear that today wasn't our day, but I understand we wanted to try and get the 3 points because it was very important for us to get the 3 points, playing before our rivals in the race for the Champions League. Sometimes we need to feel. Today the game is very difficult because it was a tactical game for both sides. Brighton were very good to close every space, but we helped our opponent because we moved the ball slowly. We are able to do much better than today. And he's right. One of my biggest complaints throughout the game is that we were slow. There was no movement. People were taking extra touches. The passes were under hit or over hit. It was one of those games where everything we tried to do did go wrong. The pace of the game, it was too slow. We needed to take control of that game. Brighton were very good tactically though. They got men behind the ball. Their strikers worked very hard. Their midfield worked hard. They battled as a team. They bolstered their midfield, which meant there was less space for us to work in. And then when you are taking your time to make these passes, it gives the opposition a chance to get back in position to block those channels. And that's exactly what happened. I thought Brighton were excellent. And I think we can all agree that if Brighton had a decent striker, they'd win more games. They'd be much further up the table. Their expected goals has been very good for the last few seasons. Graham Potter is a good manager. Tactically, he gets a lot out of his players in defence, in the midfield. He's just lacking that striker. And this is why, I was saying before that I'd have been happy with Potter as manager. I mean, am I happy with Conte as manager? Of course I am. Would I rather Conte over Potter? Of course I would. But at the time, we were looking at Nuno. And I would always have gone for Potter over Nuno, as I'm sure many of you out there would. So the fact is, I know a lot of people are saying we should be beating Brighton, which yes, we should, especially when you're in a race for a top 4 position, and you need to put pressure on the rivals around you, like Arsenal, Man United, West Ham, not so much Wolves now. But you need to push on from these. You need to put the pressure on, and losing these games in the way we lose them is not good enough. It's not the Tottenham that we saw play Villa or Newcastle. I think we can handle defeat a bit better if we tried everything and Brighton had played well. But actually what happened is Brighton played very well in the first half. We did little to change it in the second half, other than Lucas Moura, which is strange because it was he came on and made an instant impact in the fact that he was running about, he was winning the ball back, but he'd win the ball back and the pass would be dreadful, which didn't help actually, because it meant all his hard work in winning the ball back was just to give it back to them again. So it was kind of pointless. I mean, defensively and energy-wise, he was the best player on the pitch when he came on. The problem with that was, though, he kept giving the ball away, so offered us absolutely nothing and just put us back to square one, which was really frustrating because I was so happy when he was closing people down, winning the ball, moving into space. It was almost like what I wanted him to do was not to pass. It got to the point where you were like, get the ball, win it back and just go on a run. Don't look at anyone, don't pass. There was a couple of times he tried some passes with the outside of his foot as he was getting close to a player, and it wouldn't go to the player he wanted to. There was another player there. The ball would just end up in between the two of them. And we know Lucas Moura's passing ability isn't the best at time. He's had some nice assists for us over the years, but it just wasn't good enough. And it didn't help that other players weren't as switched on. I don't think that helped us whatsoever. And in the end, you know, we conceded the goal. Good bit of play by Trossard in the box. He took it really well. And it is what it is at the end of the day. It was one decent bit of play from Brighton that got them through. Dyer didn't really know which way to go. He was trying to cover the shot towards the back post or a ball across. And yeah, ball ends up in the back of the net. Trossard's been great recently, actually. I really like him as a player. So let's talk about the actual players and do some ratings. Hugo Lloris, little to do in Tottenham goal, other than a routine save to stop Dunk's header before finding himself beaten at close range by Trossard's poke shot, so he gets a 6. Romero also gets a 6. He made a couple of important headers in our box, but got himself in a tangle when making that tackle for Trossard's goal. The ball kind of rolled back through his own legs, and with his training leg, he tried to flick it back round, which put the ball right into the path of Trossard. Dyer comes away with a 5. A couple of slow moments in and around our box, including getting turned too easily for Trossard's goal. Ben Davies took a whack in the first half from Mwepu's boot. And early in the second period, he got tackled on the edge of our box and needing a Royale to bail him out. Offered very little going forward. Royale himself comes away with a 5. Same issues continue with him about trying to get forward, got no quality, his passing doesn't help us out. He did make an important challenge on Bazuma in our box just before the hour mark, so yeah, 5 for him. Bentancur, 5 as well. Picked up a first half yellow card, gave the ball away a couple of times, sent a shot wide early in the second half, came off with about 20 minutes to go without having as much impact as we know he can. Højbjerg, he actually gets a 7, the better of the two central midfielders on the day. Showed some good feet to drill across the face of goal in the second half that nobody could prod home. You could quite often see his frustration about the lack of movement ahead of him. Reguilon gets a 4, offered very little down the left-hand side. There's a possibility Conte could look to bring Sessegnon back into the starting lineup for the trip to Brentford. Kulusevski, a 4. Really struggled to live up to his high standards. Very quiet, as with the whole team. Fortunate to get away with a yellow card when he sent a frustrated elbow towards Cucurella. On another day, that would have been a red. I think he was lucky that Cucurella didn't make too much of it and managed to dodge it. He came off after 64 minutes for Moura, so yeah, 4 for him. Kane gets a 5. Couldn't impose himself on proceedings after what has been brilliant displays recently. Struggled for opportunities to score and create chances for others, other than the late flick on for Bergwijn, which he should have scored. And then Sonny, a 5 as well. Struggled to make an impact in the first half. Had a volleyed effort wide early in the second before coming off late for Bergwijn. So Moura, who I've spoken about already, he gets a 4. Came off the bench, ran about a bit, gave the ball away, nothing else. Winksy, 4 as well. Brought on to bring some fresh impetus to the midfield, but didn't. And then Bergwijn gets a 4 as well. Had his big chance straight after Brighton's goal, but sliced it wide. I'm not going to criticise Bergwijn too much because he's had some late heroics for us, and if you're just going to shove a guy on and expect him to make an impact with seconds to go, it's not going to happen. I actually think Bergwijn deserves a bit more game time, and I think maybe Sonny should have come off a bit earlier as well. Like, taking Kulusevski off seemed the harsh thing to do. It seems like Sonny we keep on because he often gets a goal or an assist, but in that game I would have taken them both off at the same time. Yeah, Sonny and Kulusevski, and let Bergwijn and Moura have a decent run at things. Fresh set of legs, and we know the way Moura and Bergwijn like to play is a bit more direct than Sonny and Kulu. Kulu likes to get involved in a passing sense. Bergwijn loves to run at people, and I think possibly should have earned himself a bit more game time. But look, frustrating game at the end of the day. Manchester United gained their ground on us. We're going to have a tough game against Brentford now. Luckily, Arsenal stayed where they are in terms of distance from us, thanks to Southampton on the day. West Ham came away with a draw as well in a game that I think they'll feel like they should have won. Certainly speaking to some of the West Ham fans that I know, they feel they should have won the game, but, you know, it is what it is. And luckily for us, apart from Manchester United, a lot of things went our way still. We got very, very lucky. So the guys have had their warning sign. They need to pull their finger out and a big, big performance in the next game. And it's going to have to be victories from now until the end of the season. We've still got some difficult games to go. That Liverpool one is looming. The Arsenal game is going to be difficult. So we really need to make a statement and sort of build that gap. But that is it for today. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments as to why you think we really struggled on this day. Do you think, even though we've had a week in between, maybe the training sessions have caught up with the players, because they are very intense, and we saw that under Pochettino at times. They'd have a game every now and again where we looked really tired. So is it a case that Conte gave them those days off and then had to work them harder for the rest of the week, which left them a bit tired for the game? I don't know. Let me know what you think below. Thanks for sticking around and watching. If you haven't done so already, please, please, please subscribe to the channel. It is really important to help the channel grow. Don't forget to support it with a like, share it with your friends, comment below, and until next time, come on you Spurs.